Hello, we're coming to you from Whistler, Canada. We are at the Olympic Campground in Whistler, and we thought we would just talk to you a little bit about where we've been. Now this takes our journey from, I'm Michelle, this is Shannon. You also might know Iris. I'll flash a photo of Iris up there. But we left our home in Western North Carolina after the devastation of Helene in Good Friday of 2025, and we've been on the road since. So
today actually is the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene when that hit that morning of September 27th, 2024.
Love Fernie. We had a place to stay at Fernie behind the independent grocers, but also in the municipal park. Remember the municipal park outside of Fernie?
No, I don't.
That's where we went mountain biking.
The provincial park.
The provincial park.
Yes, the municipal park was in Golden.
I misspoke.
Yes.
Forgive me.
Yep, Mount Fernie Provincial Park. That was gorgeous. We camped right beside the mountain bike trails. The trails were phenomenal there.
He got a free beer. He got a free beer by, tell him about the free beer.
I did the Triple Crown there. So I did, I actually can't remember the name of the swine flu was one of the trails. Yeah, swine flu, hyper extension, and Project 9. And they're all on different sides of the park. So if you do those in 24 hours, then
you get a beer.
Get a free beer at Fernie Brewing Company, and it was delicious.
So I'm gonna just have you have a cliffhanger. We're gonna tell you about the worst place we stayed in Canada, but we're not gonna get to that quite yet, so hang out for that. But after Fernie, where did we go?
We went to Norbury Lake, which is another provincial park.
Oh yeah.
And we rode in Cranbrook. Cranbrook was really cool. That was the Star Wars trail system. And we rode, but Chewbacca Rocca was super fun. It's more cross-country style, whereas Fernie is more enduro style. It's more climb up and then descend. Chewbacca Rocca was like a EKG, like it was up and down and up and down, but it was really cool, super fun. At first I thought, it's okay, but then it got really interesting and spicy, and with some big rock rolls and stuff.
Yeah, Chewbacca Rocca. I really loved Chewbacca Rocca, and we had a good time doing Chewbacca Rocca. And I didn't think about it being like, up and down, up and down. I think about it in terms of like dry dirt or wet dirt, and that was drier. I'm more of a wet dirt, hard pack type of person. But I did like Chewbacca Rocca. That Shannon's been really scoping out different trails. I also just really loved the Mount Provincial, right? Provincial Park. Is that that's right? The one in Fernie?
Mount Fernie Provincial Park.
Yeah. Old Goat was so cool. And what was some other ones that were so cool?
Yeah, and to skip ahead, we went back from Norbury Lake and Cranbrook over to Mount Fernie again, and spent some time there. And so then we rode Old Goat, and we rode, you rode the old growth forest.
Oh yeah, the old growth forest that goes up to the lodge.
I don't remember the name of the path, but
yeah, it was, I did it on an e-bike.
Now Project 9 was not old growth, but the remnants of the old growth were there. There's just gigantic stumps next to the trail where huge old growth trees had been cut, probably 100 years ago. Those stumps last a very long time because they're Western red cedar.
Yeah, so we really loved Fernie. I wanted to just stay in Fernie, but he's like, we've got other things to see in Canada. So we went, we left Fernie and then went to Salmon Arm. And Salmon Arm.
Oh no, we had a lot of stuff in between.
Oh, I forget.
There and Salmon Arm.
That's why we're doing these videos, so that later when we're old and decrepit, or I should say older and more decrepit than we are now, that we can remember what we did. What did we do after Fernie?
Well, we started to go up the oh, I don't remember what it's called actually. It's like a It's a river basin. I think it's the Columbia River Basin, maybe.
I'll check and then put the video in there. Or like put the word in there.
Golden, but before we got to we stayed before we got to Golden, we veered off that trajectory. So we stayed at a Harvest Host, a golf course. That was really nice.
Oh yeah.
And then we went to Radium Springs. So we got off the northbound highway and kind of cut over from Radium Springs over to Lake Louise and Banff. Oh yeah. And we stopped at Radium Hot Springs. Oh yeah. Okay, that was surprisingly fun for me. We did a hot springs, and they're fine. The hot springs are fine, but they had a pool with a diving board, and I haven't been on a diving board, I don't think, since I was in my teens.
So we were diving because I did do a belly flop a few times, and I wasn't as grateful as he was on.
Michelle was like 100% flopping.
My thigh took forever to heal. It was bad.
I just had an enormous amount of fun doing dives off of the dive board there. It had like just the perfect amount of spring, and it was just super fun.
Oh, and we did it in Golden too. There was a swimming pool in Golden that we did the diving board as well. Remember?
Yeah, and it was like that diving board sucked.
Oh,
it wasn't as good. And it didn't have the.
But we loved Golden.
But
it was sweet. Okay. We loved the campground there. And we had good internet in that one spot.
But from Radium Springs, we went through another national park, and that national park was Kootenai. And so we went through that gorgeous park up to Lake Louise, and that brings us into Banff National Park.
Crowded,
so
beautiful,
very crowded. Banff was super crowded. We rode our e-bikes up to Lake Louise. Check that out.
Beautiful, yeah. Neat. I'll throw some pictures into that.
Really cool old chateau up there, hotel, super fancy, and it was nice. It was beautiful.
I'm going to look at you here.
We went to Banff. Banff was super crowded, but Banff had a fantastic trail system there. So we got a recommendation from a guy at a bike shop in Lake Louise who said, if you like these kinds of trails, go check out the Star Wars system in Banff.
Yes.
So a different Star Wars system with, I don't know, it was hoodoos, not Star Wars related, up to something like Return of the Jedi, and it was a climb trail up to another Top Notch, which was not Top Notch was super interesting.
A lot of wooden features,
little skinnies, ramps, stuff like that. We rode that, difficult but fun. Then we went back up again and we rode Star Wars down. Star Wars was fantastic.
It was one of his favorite trails ever.
It's really short. It just made me feel like a superstar because the trail builder was so good with the design. Like it just had me riding the perfect trail speed to clear jumps that I normally don't clear, and it was fun.
I mean, we met a bunch of guys from California too, and they loved it too. So it wasn't just Shannon and me loving that trail system.
It was a nice trail. We laughed
fun.
at a couple of times, and then when we left Banff, it was too crowded. We did stay in a gravel parking lot, which was like an overflow to the provincial park. Everything was very crowded there.
Oh yeah, that couple next to us was
like pretty weird.
There was a couple arguing next to us. I didn't care for that.
It wasn't free. There was like, I don't remember. It was like $15-20 to park in a gravel parking lot with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah. We left there, and then
we left there. We went through.
That's when we went to Salmon Arm.
We went to Golden next. Golden was really cool.
Lots of mosquitoes in Golden.
A lot of mosquitoes.
I mean, to the point where you would walk out of the van and your arm would be cut like a sleeve in mosquitoes. Even if he was putting on the mosquito spray, and then they were like still biting him just little vampires while he was putting the spray on.
I was spraying the mosquitoes and spraying my arm, and they were biting my arm through the spray.
But Golden was beautiful. I mean, I really enjoyed Golden.
Yeah, I rode the Mount 7 trail system there. Super steep, but interesting and fun.
What else did we do? Didn't we do some museums or something like that? We did a museum, didn't we? Somewhere.
I picked up a pair of mountain bike shoes there, I think.
Yes. See, this is why we're doing the videos, because we're just not remembering, right? I'll have to look back
maybe some shorts. I think I got these shorts there, which I really love. These Marmot Arch Rock shorts.
Really loving the cocktails, the instant cocktails, and the different liquors that we're doing at the Harvest Host. You know, we'll stay at some cideries or wineries or breweries, and that's been fun to kind of like, you know, look at different things. We've had sort of a nightmare with UPS. I used to work at UPS, and they're not standing by an insured package that was supposed to be sent to me from my doctor. So, boo UPS, boo UPS. We might have to take them to court. I'm not sure.
So then after Golden, we kept heading west on Trans-Canadian 2, and we went through Glacier National Park.
Oh, Glacier was
different
beautiful.
Glacier National Park than the one in Montana.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous again.
Because they were doing prescribed fires when we went at Glacier.
That was Revelstoke National Park.
Different then.
Different one,
oh,
yeah.
My poor brain.
Yeah. So, but we drove through Glacier National Park to get to Revelstoke, and that was our next stop.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
Found a really cool dispersed campsite right on the lake.
Ooh, Labor Day.
Lake Revelstoke. That was super cool.
Remember how with the swing?
Yeah, with a swing.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I have really in-depth videos at the Patreon page, therebelrebel.com, but I will intersplice some video from that beautiful Revelstoke. That was surprising. It was Crownland. Is that considered a rec site or Crownland where we were?
That was Crownland.
Okay, beautiful.
We did stay, when we first arrived in Revelstoke, we stayed at Blanket Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Provincial Park, just for one night. A lot of mosquitoes there. Not as bad as Golden.
Well, they had the dog beach.
Not bad. They had a really cool,
beautiful dog beach. And then, so,
huge.
I got up in the morning and I ran Iris at sunrise. And then I actually got in the water. There was another woman there who was like shocked that I was in the water. She's like, it's so cold. And I'm like, you know, it's really good for the inflammation of the body. But that was really, the dog beaches were really great. In Canada so far. There's a few that we took Iris to, and she just, you know, dog beaches. I really enjoyed those with her. But you know, if you want to do the day by day, then just there's more. I do like a daily update over at therebelrebel.com, our Patreon page. But this is sort of like, what have we been doing for the past couple of months? So okay, so now we're in Blanket. At Revelstoke.
We were in Revelstoke.
What did we do?
Somewhere along the way, we kind of skipped over the Kicking Horse River, which was fantastic. We had a beautiful dispersed site on the Kicking Horse River.
Oh, where we saw the whitewater rafters. And I used to be a whitewater raft guide, so that was really fun for me. I was kind of being creepy and just kind of with the binoculars looking across the river at all the, and he's like, quit doing that. And I was like, what are they going to do?
That was between Lake Louise and Golden.
I wanted to see them get, because, you know, like, it was always so fun. The minute that you get into the raft, they're always like, oh, my feet are going to get cold. And you're like, you're going to get wet the whole ride. Just get in there, right? So I just kind of wanted to see, like, what the, you know, and it was a really nice rafting company. And you could tell they were having a good time. But there were some people who, they probably weren't having as good a time as others. You could just tell. You can tell when they get in, like, they're like, ooh, what am I doing?
That was a super cool gorge, though. When we got down the Golden,
beautiful
we could really
river.
see it. In fact, we stayed in a municipal campground in Golden, so that we had, it was warm there, so we had we stayed there because we could have power, so we could have AC.
Oh yeah.
And so that we could be inside and away from the mosquitoes.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's right. That's right.
And we were right at the exit of the canyon where the whitewater rafters were coming back out from their adventures.
Yeah, it was just, and we were, it was still like at the end of summer, so that we were able to swim and really enjoy the waters. But the waters in Canada, that's like the main thing. I'm just going to put some photos of my favorite shots because it's turquoise or white. So when it's white, it's got
so
this
milky from the glacial
melt. So that the silt
minerals.
So the rocks, right? They and the ice and the rock together make up this milky look of the river. Or it's also turquoise. It's just very clear water. It's some of the cleanest water I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm really taken aback by how beautiful, just as we're driving, the Canadian Rockies are just breathtaking. Our Rockies in the States are breathtaking. And then there's just a different, maybe because it's under snow so much of the year, I don't know, but it's just gorgeous. And I really enjoy seeing that. There's
a lot of cool things about British Columbia. And that's one of those. Another one I think that's fascinating is the old growth forests. And we hiked through some more of those, the giant cedars. Near Revelstoke. So we flash forward back to the present of Revelstoke, where we were in the story, and we hit Blanket Creek. Then we found that wonderful dispersed camping right on Lake Revelstoke. We did a tour of the hydroelectric dam there. Michelle had never been on a hydroelectric dam of that scale. It's huge. We took an elevator up to the very top of it.
Yeah, a little claustrophobic inside. I think because of the smell. There was something about the smell and the thought of being under the river or being at the mouth of the river. It's just weird for me.
Yeah, because you're at the base of the lake, right? And the lake's holding back a lake that's 495 feet deep. So it's a pretty deep lake. And then
it's the reason why I don't like my scuba.
What else did we do? We did a day at Revelstoke Bike Park. That was
the bike park was so cool.
Really great.
Really love that.
Okay, that bike park, I think that's the most elevation gain and the longest rides. I can't remember. It was about 4,000 feet, I think, each.
It was amazing.
4,000 feet each ride.
So normally at a bike park, you go up, you go down, you go up, down. So you're having like several.
And you'll get like 1,200, 1,500, maybe 2,000 feet.
But this one, you go up, and then like as soon as you're coming down, you're like,
every ride
14 miles later, you're like.
Every ride was like 10 to 14 miles, every single ride down.
It was amazing.
I did 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah.
That was about all I could do. I was worn out. It was a gondola service, so you're actually in an enclosed gondola going up, which is kind of nice and comfortable.
So we're at 15 minutes. I only want the video to be 20 minutes, and I still want to get to the worst area.
Okay.
So where are we at the storyline between here and Whistler?
We're headed from Revelstoke to Salmon Arm, the place that you've been so anxious for us to be. So we did go to Salmon Arm. And Salmon Arm was a stop along the way to get to Kamloops. Salmon Arm was actually really surprising. I loved Salmon Arm. We did the Rubberhead Trail System there, which is super cool, by canoe. And then we did the South Canoe Trail System, which was really neat. And Salmon Arm itself was really fun. We stayed in a cidery one night, which was really cool. Yeah. So we stayed in an apple orchard.
The first time we'd ever stayed in an apple orchard.
Another harvest host.
And Iris, we have the most beautiful pictures of Iris in that apple orchard. So fun. She really liked that apple orchard.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, she really did. She enjoyed that. And then we went on to Kamloops. Okay, Kamloops, we actually did a provincial park a little bit south of Kamloops at first called Lac Lejeune. And I chose it because it was in the middle of mountain bike trails, but the mountain bike trails were not good there.
That was our worst place. the campsite, you know, if you're just camping and you're swimming or
fine.
whatever, that was fine.
It was fine for that.
You know, and that was a beautiful little campground. But the trails, and then Kamloops, like
good.
Famous for mountain biking, but my, you know, I don't like the high
really
desert.
Well known for free riding.
Yeah, not our style.
Yeah, I mean it's extreme.
And I was supposed to get a UPS package in Kamloops, but
didn't come.
Well, their poor UPS store, those people that were there, they almost were crying. They're like, they just dropped the packages off the back, and then we could never organize them, so it was like a complete mess, and I didn't get my medicine, and it's so I have a little sour opinion. The Kamloops, but it's a good city. It's a huge city.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of resources
convenient.
there.
Yeah, it's a convenient city. It was very convenient for us. We were able to stock up on Iris's food again at Walmart.
They had a Walmart. They had a Costco, didn't they?
I think they did have
That's
a Costco.
so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a really good little restaurant next to the Walmart. I can't remember what
Didn't we have poutine there? I had poutine for the very first time. So Canadian food, right? There's poutine. There's the all-dressed potato chips. You're not a fan. We like the cheesies.
I think you had the poutine in Golden, but...
Oh, gotcha. Okay. We had the Thai food restaurant somewhere. Where was that? We've been eating well here.
We have. Yeah.
Okay, back to but here we are in Whistler, and we had these maple Oreo cookies that we met some people along the way.
We're really skipping ahead.
Well, we got 2 minutes.
Well, let's just take a quick timeline to say where we went after Kamloops.
What did we do?
So we went a little bit north. I thought there would be a very fascinating scenic drive, and it was nice, but it wasn't fantastic. We went north and then cut across west and then came back south to Cache Creek. And then we joined Trans-Canadian 2 again at Cache Creek. And all that was fine. It was like high pines. But then past Cache Creek, driving down to Pemberton was gorgeous.
You have such a good brain.
Yeah. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous drive.
I'm like listening to him, like he's so logical. Like, you know, I'm the creative, like I go all over here. We've been also doing a lot of luminosity, and I do much better at the multitasking and the creative stuff where he does all the logical stuff well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit back and what else did we do? Because I don't remember linearly. I just, like, you say something and I go, I remember.
Well, I was just fascinated with that whole section there. So we went to the Adams River. Adams River often has a big salmon run. We think we were a little bit early.
I forgot about the salmon. We saw salmon running.
We were a little bit early in Adams, and there was nothing going on there. But then when we got to Lillooet had a salmon run, and it was fantastic. So we saw salmon running for the first time, and that was awesome. And then we drove through the
we saw the first salmon spawning because Kamloops didn't have, of all the things, it was such a big city, but they didn't have laundry. So we had to remember we had to drive 45 minutes north, and then we met that one woman and that guy, right? And they were like, you got to go to the bridge. You got to go to the bridge and see the salmon. So we got to see the salmon there.
That was at Barrier.
Yeah.
A little town with a lovely laundromat.
Shout out to Barrier.
And they had the salmon were running in the creek there. It was really neat.
Yeah.
And then
on the way back to Pemberton, though, there was Lillooet, and then we stayed at another wreck site, which was right by a river. So beautiful. I've got all the GPS coordinates on the Patreon page if you guys want to, if you're in the area and you want to stay at the same places. And then we went to Whistler. No, Pemberton. Pemberton was off. I could live in Pemberton and Whistler, and we're about to go to Squamish. So
yeah, I think we'll probably leave. Let's talk about Pemberton.
Well, I was going to say
I loved Pemberton. Pemberton's a very small town. It's very nice. People were super cool there. We had resources there. We had fresh water at the visitor center. We had a co-working space, which was very nice. There was a nice grocery there.
And really great mountain biking.
Mostly stayed in a little gravel parking lot right outside of town for free. That was cool. The mountain biking was fantastic. Fantastic. The Mackenzie Trail System, awesome. Mosquito Lake, awesome. 1 mile, pretty good, but not as good as the others.
I didn't do 1 mile.
I also, we did some dispersed camping on the, I think it's called the Sow River. It's S-O-O, so maybe it's the Sioux River, I don't know. And that was neat. It was also bittersweet for me because they're really, a friend of mine, a very young friend, he was 18 or 19 at the time, in 2003, I think it was, drowned on a river there when he was whitewater kayaking, called the Rutherford Creek. And so we drove up that. It's dewatered now because of a hydroelectric dam, and it's far from the gravel road, so I didn't really get to see the waterfall that he had run last right before he drowned. But it was cool to be in that area, and the mountain biking was fantastic. It was my first real taste of slab riding, which is these big slabs of granite in the middle of the trails that can be descended, and it's surprisingly grippy. And there was a trail called No Air, E-R-R, which we really loved.
We really did love No Air, and shout out to the girl at the co-working site that told us about it.
Yeah, that recommended that. So we went up there. That was at Mosquito Lake, and super fun. We went back actually, and I lapped that like 5 times, I think, before we left, and even tied in. I can't remember the name of the trail, but I tied in one above it that's a little bit more difficult than that, No Air, and it goes right into the best part of No Air. So that was super fun. And then after that, we headed south to Whistler, and that's probably where we'll leave off here because we're almost at 25 minutes. And there's a lot to talk about for Whistler, so we'll save that for next time.
Yeah, it's really great. And so we're enjoying ourselves in Canada, and like, subscribe. If you want daily updates, go over to therebelrevel.com. If you're interested in doing this lifestyle for yourself, you have to build an asset financially for yourself. Do you have the assets that pay you whether you're working or not? And if you need to be coached in that, let me know. I've been doing it since 2002. It's why we can travel, because he now works with me. So anyway, love you guys. Love you, family and friends. I will keep making these videos as time allows. And we are not stopping anytime soon, right? We're going to go through the winter and maybe even go to Baja. Who knows? Stay tuned. Bye, everybody. Here we are in the Riverside Trail in Whistler, British Columbia, and Shannon's making a point about, this is the Cheakamus River, and he's like, look at that micro eddy over there on the right. Yeah, that's the kind of micro eddy you really love to get. And then he'd be like in that eddy and like, because we met whitewater kayaking, right? So he'd be like, come over here and get in this eddy, and I'm like in the flow, like, I can't get that. You're superhuman. We're having a good time. We hope you are too.